All right, check mic test. Check 1 2. Music. All right, I think my microphone is at a good volume. Cannot hear my music. Get that fixed. All right. I think I got the mic levels and music levels proper, but let me know if I need to turn anything up or down. Distrin, hey, thanks for joining, and thank you, Don. I appreciate you. Robot, how you doing? All right, so today I'm going to do some creative work for Junkyard Salvager. I'm almost done with the next release. I know it's been 3 months. One of the things that I've learned about scenario design is that it's very time consuming. So I appreciate everyone's patience as I get this out the door. On the one hand, I don't want to rush it out the door. I don't want to take my own time. At the other, I want to get something out to all of my followers and everybody in Discord, Patreons. Thank you, everyone. So let's dive into it. All right, first thing I'm going to do is untick open on exceptions. This is very important for everybody to untick it. Even though I want to know when stuff crashes, when I'm playing the game, I don't like getting that pop-up message and getting stuck on it and having to end task in the game. All right, so where am I at today? So if I go to start game scenario, I got a couple different versions. I have a whole bunch of stuff in my scenarios. And the 3 things I'll talk about today is the development branch of Junkyard Salvager. I have that by default coming up here, and I've got 2 old versions as an archive. And this is the public version that's been published right now. I can tell because it has this little caret sign on it. That's the scenario that I've uploaded to the workshop. So the one I've uploaded to the workshop is version 0.406, but I'm going to work on the development version, which is 0.5. Yes, Robot, it's just super handy to uncheck that because, oh my god, my scenario is full of bugs, and it's just a little more enjoyable when you don't get that pop-up message. So uncheck that, handy tip. I should post that somewhere. Anyways. So Junkyard Salvager is my scenario that I've been creating from scratch, and I've learned a lot from Revian and Vermillion from Reforged Eden. I've learned a lot from the developers at Allessia. They've helped me out. And all of my friends that I play with, PSC and Life Force and everybody on Anvil, Broken Eden, HWS. Oh my god, there's the whole list of people that have helped me out, given me advice, and taught me a lot of things over the past almost 5 years. Sorry, missed that check. What? Okay, so let me back up. When you first start the game and on the title screen, you hit tilde. The tilde button is by number 1 and tab on my keyboard. And then by default, this open on exceptions box is going to be checked. You want to uncheck that, and that'll prevent those pop-up errors coming on the screen. It's just a handy quality of life when you're playing the game. When you're developing stuff on the back end, we want that checked because we want to know if there's an error and we want to know if we want to go fix it. But as a player, uncheck that box and it'll prevent the pop-ups from coming, and it'll result in a better experience for playing the game. So yeah, uncheck the open on exceptions box when you hit the tilde button. Handy tip. All right. So I'm working on this 0.5 version, and it's going to have, the final version will have 4 starts, but 0.5 has a second new start. By default, the Retin is the planet where you start on in the published version, and I'm adding 4 new start locations. So the next version will have a new starting location in orbit on a prison. So that's coming out soon. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah. That is going to be happening pretty soon. All right, so what I want to do is start a new creative game, and I'm just going to call this Junkyard Salvager Twitch 0.5, and I'm going to work on some POIs today. So let's set that, and let's start it up. I got the new title screen, I've got new screenshots, I've got new hints, loading things. I haven't finished the update notes yet because I haven't finished the version yet. So I'll fill those in with everything that I've done the last 3 months. So we're going to start up here in creative, and I'm going to start working on POIs and spawn in my resources. Yeah, Star Salvage, that null reference error, I hear you. And Star Salvage, love that scenario, and the Reborn version. I used to talk to Noah DM back in the day, and he shared some advice for helping convert things into destroyed damage versions. But anyways, I'm going off track. So definitely hit tilde and uncheck that on my scenario, Star Salvage. Just in general, it's handy so you don't get those pop-up errors. All right, so I am in creative right now, and I want to cast time stop and adjust the lighting on the planet here so that the sun is straight ahead and it won't get dark on me. And I've hit G to be in God mode. And by default in creative, I have a bunch of creative tools that I'm going to add to my toolbar here. The multi-tool, I have a version of it that just has unlimited ammo and doesn't degrade, and it's purple because I like purple. And I got my own color conversion tool, and this texture and snipper tool I use in combo with the color tool. I've got a little conversion micro tool that does 1 damage on things for reasons, and I've got a minigun that paints on damage and area of effect damage. So I just got some custom creative weapons that I use for damaging stuff, because in Junkyard Salvager there's a lot of damage stuff. Yes, also don't forget to save templates often. Well, once in game, I agree. Yes, it's good advice. Thank you, Don. Save your templates when you spawn something in. It's a good idea, because you don't want to go have to repair your ship and not have a template. Good advice. All right, so I'm going to hit H, and that's going to give me the creative menu. It's going to give me access to all the blocks that I'm going to use today. A couple other things I want to use. I just want to grab one of these hardened steel blocks. I just use this as a placeholder when I want to like delete blocks. It's handy to put it on there and work with it as one of the creative tools. Another thing I want to grab is the alien blocks. This allows me to place spawners, sentries, and other stuff in POIs. I use that a lot. And I'll go through and grab miscellaneous stuff as time goes on. So let's spawn in the POI that I want to work on today, which is the Central Junkyard, which is a part of the next update. And I've got it pretty much fleshed out, but I got to work on the inside. This, I originally asked Stable Diffusion, or an AI image generator, to generate an image of a junkyard with a central space station around it, and that's the concept art that's on the Steam page. So I took that art and I'm like, I want to make a base out of that art, so I did. So I kind of fleshed that together based on what you see on the Steam Workshop page. It's a work in progress, but it's kind of like the picture. So this is in the game in Chapter 3. It's going to be on the planet surrounded by junk vessels, and I have to finish this. That's my goal today. So I want to spawn in some other things that I use frequently, and that is Sulusdacor's LCDs. I just got a copy of it in my blueprints. This can be found on the workshop. Sulusdacor has brilliant assets. So I'm going to use some of these LCDs added to the POI. So that's one of the things that I use with POI design. Another thing that I use is my POI resources kit that I set up. This has all of the rules for POI creation. You may have seen this in my recent stream with Life Force. I was using that as a reference when we were converting this Astral Drake into an OPV. It's got different stuff that I can copy paste. These are CV blocks, and these are SV and HV blocks. And here's some fake shield generators and some terrain, and some, I believe these were on some of Vermillion's POIs. It's just handy to have a ball that you can put a shield generator or something in. And I was also experimenting with copying loot containers into SVs and HVs, little tiny loot containers. So I would go over here and copy the block and paste it. I need to add some fuel to these so the lights stay on. Great. So yeah, I'll be copy pasting off of those and modifying this POI today. So this thing, let's dive into it. Get out of God mode. So the player's going to come in, and I need some more like deco or LCD work to sort of show this as a living station. The purpose of this station is it's going to be manned by some NPCs, and their job is to, you know, grab, salvage, fix it up, and sell it. And it's also going to be a trading center. So you got that repair bay down there and kind of like a workshop area. I should do like a crane or something. Oh, by the way, this is based on a POI. It's a combination of UCH construction kit, and I also grabbed some stuff off of the Geist construction kit, one by Don2K and another by Vermillion, and some stuff from Stellar Titan as well. So I've been influenced or borrowed or just downright stolen some of the work of others to put something together that's unique. So yeah, just started with that shell, and I've been slowly modifying it. Got like a kitchen area over here, a couple of bathrooms. But the player, when they come here, it's going to have a quest marker. You kind of a salvaging faction. Yes, I agree, Distron. Good point. It's set as traders by default. It was easy just to set it to traders for now. But yes, I should do a separate salvaging faction. Anyways, there's going to be a quest that encourages the player to come to this POI and tells them to go and talk to the person in charge of this facility. So I've got a bunch of empty rooms that I got to kind of flesh out and put, you know, deco and make it look like it's lived in here. We got 2 different levels here. I got a little secret room down there with someone you can talk to. And I got a bunch of traders here. Now this is just placeholders for now. So I just got labels saying this is the HV trader, the SV part trader, SV and HV. So all of the different parts for different vehicles and bases you can sell here that you grab and salvage off of the field. This is going to be a custom. I don't want to spoil anything, but that'll be a fun thing to hear feedback in the game. So something unique for my scenario that you can sell just unique items. And these are the standard traders for like ingots. No, actually, ingots is a custom trader that I made where you can buy and sell ingots that will be useful in game. That was some feedback that I got that added ingot trader, so I added an ingot trader. The other ones are standard plants, food, medical traders. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. It would be nice if an honor code, kind of a salvaging faction. Yeah, as you salvage, get rep. That would be nice. How would I do that? I'm not sure how I would do that, but I like that idea. Get rep with the salvaging faction as you salvage and trade stuff. So I have some custom traders in here. So these LCDs, I need to get rid of these LCDs because they're just a placeholder right now. They look basic. So I want to go look at Sulusdacor's LCD work and find some sort of better LCDs there and replace those. I also have an engineering section in here that I have to flesh out. It's blank right now. So I'm gonna have like generators and engineers in here, and I gotta fill this in. And up on this level, I have to do some more work up here. This is where the player's gonna go, and they're gonna talk to this person. This is a quest giver. They're going to have a conversation with this person, and then they're going to move on. And this, I also have to add some deco. If you want trader LCDs, Allessia has some. Oh, yes. Allessia, thank you, Don, is another fantastic designer and does some amazing LCD work. So that's my goal with this POI. Gonna flesh it out today. What Don mentioned, I need to spawn right now. If I just put in my LCD keyword, I've got the Allessia all set. This is also on the workshop. And he's got some great LCDs. I probably have to go find his most recent version. This is a copy. So Allessia also has some amazing LCD work that I can probably put in engineering. So yeah, lots of good resources here that we can just come and copy the LCD code by looking at the projector. So I can copy this code and modify it and paste it over there. But yeah, Allessia also has fantastic work. I asked him to make fake cores, and these are the fake cores that he made for me. They can be found in some POIs. I really like how he set up the fake cores. I got some feedback that it was really frustrating to find fake cores, but it was kind of fun to design POIs of fake cores. Anyways, I digress. And some other new ones, yep. All right, so I'm gonna grab some deco blocks. Use these a lot. I also might want to put some stone statues and some trees in here. These new furniture blocks, some tribal furnishing. Might want to put some more containers in here. We can also use like this offline protection thing and this land claim device. I can put these in engineering. And in a POI, it doesn't really matter in a POI. I'm just using those for deco. I can put this in engineering too, these solar capacitors. For a POI, it doesn't really matter what the CPU is or the power rating. It only needs one small generator, one fuel tank, and one NPC core, technically, to work. So I can use all of these blocks that players would normally use otherwise or be restricted with, and just use it for deco. I can use that in engineering too. I should probably put a shield on here, put that in engineering. So I'll grab the POI shield. Oh, these light blocks, these new light blocks are nice. And this I've used before too. This is a custom core that I have in my scenario. Plane, hey, thanks for joining. Plane, you have a builder inside you. I know you do. If everyone doesn't know, Plane is on the PSC server that I have the YouTube videos on every week. So, shout out to Plane. Okay. I gotta catch up with chat. Yeah, creative's fun. It's just a different way to play the game. And I like I mentioned in my chat and Discord, I started out just playing the game, and just like everybody else, just survival, solo, single player. And I thought to myself after a while, I've played this game so long, and some of these POIs I've memorized. And how do you add a new POI? How do you design a POI? And that started me out in creative to figure out how do you do these kind of things. I also designed my own SVs and HVs, which were cubes when I started. Just like everybody else, I started with the cubes, go from there. But yeah, it's just a different way of playing the game, creating ships for yourself in the game, and then on the flip side, designing POIs for other players to enjoy. So yeah, that is how I started out. Okay, so I want to come in here, and I want like an LCD on top of this blue thing. Let's start there. So something that says this is the Central Junkyard. So you come in here as a player and see that. Let's see if we can find something in Sulusdacor's or Allessia's set that that would be a good like intro LCD. And at times during the stream, you're just going to hear me sort of quiet and thinking to myself, and feel free to post in chat. I might zone out and miss chat, but I apologize. I'll eventually get to it. Gotta put my creative hat on. I really like this. This might be a good like outside edition. Central Junkyard. But yeah, check out Sulusdacor's LCDs on the workshop if you're interested in grabbing some LCDs for your ships or otherwise. Great resource. Looking for something. Yep, the flying shoebox. Ain't that the truth? That was my first ship, Flying Cube. Could maybe grab one of these, put it on the back of that core, and adjust the placement. Okay, so I kind of like that. I use this menu in my Tiki bar as a basis and then modified from there. I've used a lot of Sulusdacor stuff, so thank you, Sulusdacor. If you're watching, I appreciate all that you do. Great resources. Oh, cool. That would look good in engineering. Around a pipe. Who didn't build a mini board cube yet? Yeah, I saw one in the workshop. It was size class ridiculous, and it would not work on a server. But hey, it's fun. Mm-hmm. Oh, the Central Junkyard is not a strip bar, so I can't use those. Thank you. I like this for engineering. It's not a good engineering LCD. I could put this globe in the front. All right, so I could go down this all day, but I'm just going to make a decision and run with it. So these stuck out to me. So the weapon and the market cafe don't really work. So one of these two. How about we just grab this? So this is how I'm going to do it. Go in here, copy that. And these adjustments, I'm going to do a print screen and then just grab this slice here and look at that on the side. Oh, thank you. All right, we're going to come down here and we're going to grab another block, the LCD screens block. Our toolbar is getting busy. So I'm going to put this one on, this LCD projector. Put that right back in the core. Then I'm going to go click on it, hit F, paste that text that we saw earlier. And then I'm going to adjust the width looking at that screenshot on my other monitor. So it was 5.5. It was negative 45 rotation. I'm going to have to adjust these. I'm just making it the same as what was on Sulusdacor's reference, and I believe that was blue. Okay, so it's on there somewhere. It's just it spawned in the core, so I got to adjust it. All right, so this is a bit of a tricky part, is getting this adjusted. So I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to, let's see here. Okay, that moves it over there. So we want X to be 0. Okay, so good. Now it's above here. But I want to flip it the other way so it's inverted. So now I got to kind of angle it so I can hit the projector and look at it at the same time. It's kind of tricky. So I want to rotate this thing, which it's not that one. No, it's not that one. I may have to put this LCD projector up here instead. It might be easier to angle this damn thing if I put it right there. And then paste that in there. And do the same settings. Instead of messing with it and trying to invert it from its current position, I can try it from here. Okay, now it's up there. So now if I get that out of the way so I don't get confused. I'm already confused though. Where are you? Okay, you're right there. Again, I'm trying to access it while I can see it at the same time, so I can adjust these and see where this thing goes. Okay, there we go. This is what I want. So now it's down here, and now I gotta flip it. I have difficulty thinking in these dimensions, so apologies. So I gotta play with this, figure out which slider I have to adjust to flip it. Possible to change the transparency. Oh, yeah. Let me catch up with chat. So it looks like praise. Name the LCD so you can find it in the control panel while you're looking at the projecting. Yep. Good call. So back here, if you hit the devices tab, you'll see the new thing. I'm going to auto group, and then you can show on HUD, so you can see that there. So one thing that Plane was mentioning in chat is that you can go in here and either show it on the HUD or name it accordingly like this so you can see it in the tree and figure out which one it is. Menu transparency in the options. I'm not sure I've ever seen a menu transparency in the settings. I don't know if that exists. To better see both, yeah. I'm putting it here because I'm getting confused. Get a baseline. Can only change background color in LCDs. Yeah, so I do struggle with, you know, getting the positions correct. That's just me. But that doesn't lessen the value of the LCD resource from Sulusdacor. It's just me and my inability to think three-dimensionally. So we don't want to do that. This is going to go up. We want to do that later. This spins it. Or there. We don't want to do that. Good. Now I got my bearings. Also had the LCD upside down. So now I can like put it underneath here and then adjust it so it's right above there. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to delete this block and delete that block and put this down here. Paste that here, put that there. Alright, good. Almost got it. So I kind of want it like right here above that. I want to see the LCD while I'm adjusting the thing, which is tricky if not impossible. So this is going to go back. Alright, so I'm going to adjust these, look at it. I want to go up a little bit and back a little bit more. Good. Almost there. Back a little bit more. Nice. Can I go one more? One thing I wish is the ability to do fine increments on these LCDs. They only do like a 0.25. Perfect. That is exactly what I'm looking for. All right, grab this block. That reference block that I have, I hold down Control and right click to copy an existing block. And I'm going to paste that. All right, good. That took forever. This is yet another reason why it takes so long to do POI work, is futzing around with stuff like this. So we got this logo here. So now I want to modify the logo to say like Central Junkyard or something like that. So first I'm going to hit Alt-O and save. Always save frequently. So this is my base. And I'm just going to overwrite it for now. Actually, I do want to save damage states in this one because it has some damage blocks. Clearing the pivot point is good too if you're doing, if you like maybe create a base by copying something else. Resetting clearing the pivot point is a good idea so it spawns properly. So we'll overwrite that. There we go. A better building tool for LCDs is on the shopping list. There is a good call, Distrin. There is a tool that an author made, I forget the name, for designing custom LCDs, and I should go try that out. I think Allessia uses that as well, or helped with the development of that. Thank you, Don. Yeah, so I had to futz with that thing. Sorry. I was looking at the adjustments and not looking at chat while I got that, but yeah, apologies. I know that was kind of painful to watch. All right, so I'm going to go down here, and I'm looking for the core industries. So there's a core, and there's an industries. The core is large, industries are not. So I probably want to do Central Junkyard in yellow and remove the more than production thing. So I'm going to take this text and copy it, and then off screen, I'm opening a notepad and pasting the LCD text in there, and I'm going to modify it over there. The reason why, yet another lesson I learned, is modifying the text within this display text window can be a little tricky at times because the formatting might not display exactly as it is on screen. So I like to modify this in Notepad and then paste it back over here. It's just another lesson learned from going back and forth and modifying LCD text. Is doing it off screen is a little easier with the formatting. So what I'm going to do is modify that core industries so it says Central Junkyard. All right, then I'm going to copy that text back over and paste it in this window. Central Junkyard. Okay, so now I have to do 2 lines and maybe change the Central Junkyard to white. So I'm going to go back in here, go over to my text on the side. Change that. Copy that. Sorry, not showing my text file off screen, but it's just me using it as a scratch pad. There, okay. So now I've got that. Now I want to move it up a touch so it's in the middle. And that'll look good. So look at that. Go back to my text file on the side. Line height. I'm just going to play with values in the text file. Paste it over here. Look at it in game. That did nothing. So that was modified the wrong line. Now I'm going to go back and forth and try to figure this out. I know this doesn't make for necessary thrilling content, but it does definitely give you guys some insight on how much time it takes to do all this work in the background. So that's why it's taken me so long to get this done and get it out the door. And I suffer from distractions like everybody else too. Like the dog and up says squirrel. I see squirrels often, frequently. And yeah, ooh, shiny, distraction. All right, I'm actually going to futz with that off screen, and I'll just put it in the center. I'll play with this, but I got the placeholder, so let's just do that way. Let me hit Alt O, and we'll move on. Save that. Great. So yeah, I'll tweak that as needed. So come in here, we see that. I've got some deco kind of set up already in here, but I definitely want to add more. So let's do that. Yeah, thank you, Distrin. I appreciate that. Thank you for the feedback. I love the positive feedback and the encouragement. I get a lot of negative feedback. Well, not a lot. I get negative feedback on Steam comments. It's kind of toxic. Steam comments. So I try not to look in there. And thank you for everyone who's sending me encouragement. I appreciate that. For the longest time, we only had these trees to work with SPOI designers, and now we have more trees, and that's nice. So we're gonna spice it up a little bit. I know this POI is on a desert planet, so maybe we should use desert plants. Some of these trees won't work, but you get the idea. To copy the color on here, I hold down Control and right click to copy the color with the color gun and just paste that there. It's the little details that matter. And yet another reason why it takes so long to do design work. Anybody that watches Life Force's streams, you know that he's meticulous about this, and for good reason. His design work is amazing, so definitely check out Life Force's stream. This guy needs a plant. Okay, done with that. Let's grab this block and randomly add these around just to give it some variety. These should be in engineering and by the administrator. I don't have a lot of spaces to work with on the blocks here. And then over in engineering, I gotta completely start scratch here. Let me work on this room by itself, and I'll work on the rest now. Just get some random stuff around. So I'm just gonna grab each one of these blocks and just randomly place stuff around just to give it a little more life. Twitchy Samurai, thank you so much. Keep it up. I love it. Oh, I really appreciate that feedback. Thank you. That encourages me to get it done. So that's why positive feedback works. Yeah, this mystery guy who definitely sells something mysterious and might be valuable could use some deco. Sorry about flying around quickly and randomly. Trying to get this done. So if I make you sick, I apologize. There should be some people in here. There are 2 people blocks, NPC blocks. So these guys, I can right click on this and put some people arguing right there. They're probably not arguing, whatever. Engineering dude, there's another block. A couple of different blocks I can use. I can use this alien block here to spawn in some people that are standing. I can also use this new entity spawner. And I can put one of these consoles with a person next to it. So for example, let's say this is like a utility room. I can put a guy here that's working on something. And if I look at it, it's going to be a cyborg by default, but I can hit P on this thing. And there's a drop-down menu with a whole bunch of different NPCs that I can pick. So I can pick literally anything to spawn here. Preferably not a dead person. Unless I had a reason for that. Or a fish, you know. Yeah, so lots of choices. This place is mainly inhabited by cyborgs. There's just a handful of people here. So we'll put this engineer cyborg static. Just a static guy. And he'll spawn when the player gets within this range, which is this interactive area. This red box defines where that engineer, or I'm sorry, when that engineer will spawn when the player gets into this area. So they get up the elevator, and then it spawns. It's contingent in what, 1 to 3 seconds or 1 to 5 seconds when the player was within the area. Let me catch up with chat. Okay. Incredibly rewarding getting at the same time as love building. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you joining me while you're building in creative as well, Distrin, or playing survival, or whatever you're doing over there. Has anybody ever tried pulling a Blender model in a scenario? So that is something that's a bit beyond my expertise level. We can import Unity models into and for blocks. Like for example, I did it once on this custom block I have here, which I can't spawn in this thing because it's a core. But I basically grabbed this from Unity and I added it to the game. It was just a free Unity asset. So if I put down a base, put a new base here, put some blocks on it, remove the core. So I grabbed this from Unity. So this is a Unity asset I just imported into the game. Basic little dodecahedron that spins. So going back to what you said about Blender, I know that you can use, there's a post in the Alien forums for using Blender to create either custom assets or custom textures. It's been a while. It's from Cassianet, and I haven't read it in a while, but it is possible to use Blender to design custom assets, import them into Unity, and then apply that to a block. So I know that was a really long answer to your question there, but yes, it is possible. I just don't know the specifics on how to do that. There is a post in the Alien forums on how to do that. Yes, exactly. Yeah, as far as I know. I haven't done it. There is a post on it, so check it out. Anyways, good question. Good question. If you know Blender, definitely check out the post if you want to design some custom stuff and import it into the game. What was I doing? Okay, I was up here. And I did that. I got that guy up there. You see how time-consuming this is? For all the distractions. Yeah, what do you do? What do you do? It's fun. It's fun. Okay, so this block, got some different options here. So we can put like, a light up here. And we could put like vents, deco vents, like air intake. Which reminds me, is this, there's a option to show oxygen. And let me fill up the oxygen in the fuel and turn the oxygen on. And this showing oxygen will show you all these diamonds here. This means that there's oxygen in this room. When you're designing POIs and you want the player to be able to breathe in here, which I do on this POI, this will help you check to make sure that you have ventilation and oxygen in all the rooms, which I believe I do. Just double check. Yep, in the bathrooms too. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So I'm good on that. I just turned that on because I didn't know if this door is airtight. So you can look at door, you can click devices, and it'll say airtight no. So the air goes through this door. So we got oxygen in here. Anyways, as I was saying, like a pretend vent to, got the wrong tool. To give the illusion that it's oxidized. There is a fan block right here. Ventilator block, I should say. So you could do something like grab a ventilator block so you could have fresh air coming in and exhaust going out of that or something like that. So something like, just as an example. These three I'm going to use over in engineering. So let me do that before I get distracted yet again. Okay, so over here I want to have these fancy technical things to give it the impression that, hey, this is an engineering room. Just going to put those up there for now. I'll probably move those around later. But it may be like a generator here and some of these guys in here to give it the feeling that that this is an engineering section. And the intent isn't for the player to take over this POI, but you can always become an enemy of the traders and do whatever you want. This is not going to fit in here. Can I cut into these blocks? No, they're externally facing blocks. Can I go down one level? Nope. That's as far as I can go over here. So I can't put the generator over there. And if you remove a block, you can just hit N and click undo. I'll put it back. So I could lay it on its side. And have it go like here. There you go. Perfect. So the player could come in here and see a bunch of engineering functions, something like that. Just a thought. Just a thought. Okay, I need to catch up with chat again. Spanish has pulled this gaming trader. Gaming trader. I'm not sure what that means. Spanish has pulled this gaming trader. Handy for players of trying to find an air leak. Yes, turn on oxygen. If you have an air leak, there will be like a black O2 diamond that you can follow that has a trail that'll show you where the air leak is. Thanks, Don. Good advice. Good advice. Sometimes it only puts a red diamond in the back of the wheel. Yes, sometimes it can be tricky to figure out where the leak is, but it can give you kind of a hint. Yep. Don can type faster. Yeah. Trading card. Trading card trader. Yes. The RE2 trading cards. That is a really cool system. And thanks for bringing that up. I would love to add something like that. Just being a former Magic the Gathering player, I'm turning on my nerd cred here. But yeah, it'll be fun to have like a trading card kind of game. I like that feature in there in RE2. So shout out to Vermillion for doing the trading card game. What was I doing? Getting distracted again. So many distractions. Distractions are fun. Okay, so in here, this is this POI. It's not meant to be destroyed because it's part of the story. It has an NPC core in it, but I can also put an admin core in it. But the player can, if they want, destroy this POI. The challenge is, in the future, if this is going to be a multiplayer scenario, and it can be, I just haven't designed it from the ground up as a multiplayer scenario. I've just been thinking it's a single-player story experience. But if this is a multiplayer scenario and it's running a server, I would want to put an admin core on this POI because it's the quests, the story leads the player here. They have an interaction with the person in here, and then they move on. So if it doesn't have an admin core, and another player destroys it, then the quests will break and the game might error out because it will try to. The system will bring the player to this location, but it won't exist. So that's one reason why we as POI designers have to use admin cores. So this one I am actually going to convert to an admin core by just removing that core and putting that in there. And then putting that there. So yeah, that will prevent the player from destroying this POI, which there's passionate feelings for and against admin cores, but I'm just giving you the perspective as a POI designer in that I want to make sure that the game doesn't break by making sure that key POIs exist in the game and so people can continue the story. So just a side thing. Don't be sorry, Declan. Please ask questions. That's why I'm streaming on Twitch, so people can get some insight and learn. So anyways, I didn't have an admin core in here before, and I replaced that because this POI specifically is going to be part of the story, and I want to make sure that the game doesn't break if people run it on a server in the future. So that's why. So I'm going to resave my POI. And down here I was using a consistent color scheme of having consoles be blue. So I just right click and copied and change those to blue. Same with the consoles in the trader section here. Let's give it a consistent color theme. And this guy, I can't paint this, really? Okay. There we go. So now it's kind of consistent with the UCH kit theme and this POI's theme. Blue, gray, white. Alright, I need more stuff. Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to put a shield generator in here as well. And that should go over in engineering. Is this the old model? Oh yeah, this is the old model. So I haven't copied over the new model from vanilla yet. So I could do that. Still using that old model. I can actually make a second shield block so that I have both the old and new models in the scenario. So the icon is new, but the object is old, so I gotta update that. The things you learn while you're testing stuff. There should be an O2 unit when you first come in the door, because the planet is not gonna have O2, so I got that there. was thinking of doing a repair station and a armor locker for role playing, because you know this is going to be a desert planet with no oxygen. They come in, they get some oxygen in their suit, and they can change their suit or take it off when they come in here by going in there. Sul RP. And that reminds me, on a POI, when you add things like this that players can interact with, you need to set them as public in here. That means that the player can come up here and hit F to access it. If it wasn't set to public, you would get that error message that says not allowed, or you would get something that says, for example, if you try to access this kitchen counter, it would say, warning, this will impact your rep with yada yada yada. So these things I'm going to set to 0000 so the player can use them. Did I set the O2 station already? I did. Okay, great. Give that another save. Save frequently and save often. And another thing, we should do, like, you know, second copy. So now I got another copy of it. Another handy tip. Okay, Robot, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Distren, how do you copy a model? Do you mean like if you how do you make it? Do you mean like copying a block, or explain it a little bit more so I understand the question on how to copy a model? You can take like a block and do a control right click and change that block and then paste it again. From Vanilla Shield. Oh, okay. So that, yes. So there are config files. There are config files that you can modify. Let me switch this over. Okay, so you should be able to see my desktop right now with all my windows on it. Okay, I know this is a sidetrack, but if I look in my scenarios folder here, yes, you can see all the crap on my desktop. There's nothing to hide here. I enjoy 7 Days to Die and different games. Okay, so here's my scenario directory, and here's the Junkyard Salvager development directory. If I go into content and configuration, there's a file called blocks config. So if I open up that file, the program that I use to edit stuff is Visual Studio Code. I used to use Notepad++, but this is just easier to modify. So in here, this blocks config file defines all the blocks that the game uses. And can I increase the view text size? Zoom in. There we go. Increase the text size. Hopefully you can see that. If not, let me know. So we're changing into a coding stream. So the shield, I don't know the name of the shield off the top of my head. I'm just going to do a search for shield. Here's a shield generator. Okay, great. So this block ID, the shield generator base, defines what the base shield generator looks like. And this line is what you're asking about right here. This model. Models, blocks, miscellaneous shield generator, large prefab. This is what Elyon uses as the model that you're discussing in the game. There's an icon, and then there's a block model. And the block model comes from this. So this is either the old or the new generator. This is probably the old generator. So what I'd have to do is go over to Vanilla, grab the Vanilla file, figure out what the new model is, and just copy paste that new line onto here, and then I would get it in the scenario. So that's how you would do that. So some insight, behind the scenes work. Yeah, a lot of the time I spend is working on these text files, which it might not make entertaining content on a stream, but hey, so what I'm doing in the background is I'm modifying all these entries, or not all of them, entries as needed. And let me switch back to here. A lot of text file work in scenario creation, just modifying stuff in the back end. But that's how you change the shield block. It's a great question. What was I doing? Okay, more deco. I want to put this wireless controller in here, just as a, not for wireless, but just as like deco. I like to use any block for deco purposes. So this thing I could put here, and I could put like some pipe work in front of it, and give it the impression that it's some sort of strange device. And I could retexture these things to make it look like it's got like a pipe going up to it or something like that. So different ways that you can use the blocks in the game for POIs that aren't necessarily for their purpose. I did want to put some of these in there, and some of the fancy lights maybe. I think the administrator should have a statue because he's in charge, so his office should have an indicator of his wealth, perhaps. So we'll put a statue there. The tribal deco blocks don't necessarily fit in this POI. The trading stations I'm voiding because reasons related to the story. And this one, I could also do like a furnace in the engineering section. That'll fill out that space a little bit more. Yeah. Lots of stuff going on in engineering, as it should be. From the prefabs. I'm catching up with your question. The models? When you mean the prefabs, let me know what you're talking about. Sorry, I didn't catch your question. Happy to answer it once I understand what you're mentioned about the prefabs. All right, let's see if Sulusdacor has some better LCDs than me using these placeholders. So what kind of LCDs can I put behind these traders that indicate what the trader is at a glance, but don't look, basic? I mean, where are the vanilla models located exactly? That I don't really know the answer to that question. I know where they are for scenarios. Let me go back to the coding screen. So we were looking at this models, blocks, mothership. I don't know where this is in vanilla. In a scenario, you can add custom models in the shared data content bundles directory. These are the custom block models that I have for the scenario, and they're located in this shared data content bundles directory. Over in vanilla, I've got a copy of vanilla right here just for looking around. Bundles. Okay, they have a bundles directory right there. So that's where the models are. There you go. Answered your question just by looking. It's in the bundles directory in vanilla. The trick is I don't know what's in the bundles. I'd have to look at the blocks config and say, okay, their model is right here. So what you could do is just search for this model, quote, models blocks line. So I could just copy this and paste that in here. And there's a whole bunch of different examples of models in vanilla. Yeah, I don't necessarily know the content of their model assets, and I never will because that's created in Unity. But you can find out what's in there by just looking at what they reference in the blocks config file. Sir, yeah. Back here. Happy to answer questions. So keep them coming. And don't worry about distracting me. That's my life. My life is distractions. It's all good. Happy to help people. Okay, what LCDs can I have behind the traders that says, hey, this trader trades this? So I'm going to look at LCDs for a bit. Let's look at Allessia's LCDs. We've been looking at Sulusdacor's last time. I'm going to grab these for engineering. They look cool. I wasn't going to put CPU extenders in that POI, but I like this LCD that he has that overlays on the CPU extenders. Hey, thanks, Distrin. Appreciate that. Be careful poking around there. Make a copy of that file first and look in the copy. Also, something will break the... Yes, I agree with what Don said. So that's why I'm a little... Yeah, I don't know a lot about what's in those block model assets. And Don brings up a good point. Be careful not to break the terms of service. I don't know the terms of service off the top of my head. But yeah, just, if you look at blocks config and just look where they're pointing, you can just copy that line and use that basically in a nutshell. Another thing I want to call out is if you're like making a modification of Reforged Eden 2, do not upload your modification to the workshop because it has Unity assets that Rivian and Vermillion bought and paid for. Unless, of course, you have approval from them. But yeah, that's another no-no. Okay. Yeah, these might work. Turn my light off. So you could do like this for some of those. I need something for HV, SV, CV blocks. And I can just do like an icon, or I can do the icon and a description. The icons might be hard to translate for a block vendor. Don uses fake CPU extenders and a couple of PCIs. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I like those. Allessia does good work. Those are factions. Oh my god, Allessia. She's got a good sense of humor. I should use more of Allessia's LCDs on my stuff. I like that. Look at that. I don't have a good... You know, I might have to just ask Allessia for a custom LCD for vendors. He's busy, though. Okay, I don't have a good idea on a good vendor LCD. So I'm just randomly looking at stuff. I like this. Yeah, I'm sure he won't mind if I ask. I agree, Don. For those of you who don't know, I've talked to Allessia plenty of times, and I think we have a good relationship, so I don't think he would mind spinning something up for me if I asked, which I'll probably do. Okay. So anyways, I'll replace these LCDs with something better than my placeholders. And I'll put them above that. This room, it's okay. I think I need a little a little more, a little something in here. I don't know. If I put my Life Force hat on and kind of play around with different block shapes to give it less of a hard block 90-degree corner look. I am not... Life Force is leagues better than I am when it comes to designing stuff. So, yeah, but something like this to sort of break up the harsh 90-degree angles is nice. And then give them a bit of a different... There's two different tools I have in my toolbar. Conversion color tool. Yes, I made a custom one for Happy Little Trees because, you know, Bob Ross is awesome. And this texture and symbol tool. So this first one, you can switch between textures and symbols, or you can just use this specific tool for symbols and textures. It's two different options, and that's why at first I just used this tool, but POI designers, they use both. It's just kind of fun, nice to use one tool for a texture and one tool for color. So you could do something. No, that looks terrible. I also want more textures. We're limited in the textures that Elion gives us. So these don't necessarily work on these blocks. These blocks will squish the texture. I don't know. Something like that. Just to kind of break up the monotony. That was my point, is try to put like half blocks or parts of blocks to sort of mix it up a little bit. Distrin, gotta go. Thanks for joining. Yes, feel free to post questions in Discord. I'm happy to answer them. Thanks so much for joining. But yeah, this is why it's taken me so long to do this work, is just all these, all these little things. Because I want this POI to look nice. I could just update. I could just post update right now, but there's people would say, why didn't you finish this? Why wasn't this done? So yeah, trying to finish as much as I can and then release it. I also have to work on bugs, do a final playthrough, and then get it uploaded to the workshop. But yeah, that's all I have left, is just to do sort of this furnishing on the decos, on the furnishing in the POIs with deco to make things look a little bit better. And then yeah, I have to do some more conversions. Then I'll be done. So yeah, that's literally all I have left to do for the next version. It's just finish the furnishing and do some more conversions and get it out the door. Yeah, lots of POI design work behind the scenes is it's time consuming. The little details matter. Like just extending these walls. All these traders, by the way, these are they look like they're the same model, but if I hit P on them, I can change the model that appears in game. So this is going to be a Trader Cyborg Servant. And this guy, if I hit P on him, he'll be a Cyborg Engineer. So in Creative, it shows me the same model, but when it spawns in game, these will be different models based on the drop-down in here. I can also I have different types of traders that I've designed. If I hit JS in here, here's all the custom traders I have. And I've defined those in a file in the background called trader npc config, which, hey, I can switch over here to coding and I can show you exactly where that is. So here's my scenario directory. If I go to content configuration, trader npc config, all the traders are defined in here. So this is basically a copy of vanilla, plus I added on my custom traders on here. So this is where I define the trader. Here's all the things that the trader will buy and or sell, and then amounts and prices, or prices above the price of the item. There's like percentages and amounts in here. And this is what he's going to say. So yeah, on the back end, just some insight on how those are defined. Let me switch back over here. So on the trader, that's the type is where I've defined in that file, the model, whether or not he accepts bank or cash credit, the restock timer when it refreshes, so every 60 minutes, that's default. Faction is going to be the same as base, or I can make him a different faction, but for this POI, I want him same as base. And then I can also define dialogue. That's a whole nother conversation. There is a tool from Rexus that web tool that he made to make it easy to create dialogue. We can probably go into that in another stream because that is a rabbit hole. That's another thing that I'm learning is how to create dialogue. So you can define his dialogue there, or you could just, the player goes up to him and hits F and then gets the buy and trust trade screen. Different options. When was the last time I saved? Okay. I've got 20 minutes left before I need to go watch a movie with the wife. So I am going to spawn this in game and see what it looks like. So let's do that. All right. So I've saved the file as this JSBA Central Junkyard. So let's get out of here. And back in the main menu, I'm going to go over to my coding view again. And here on the right is my blueprints directory. If I hit refresh, I got this base central junkyard. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to copy this EPB file, which is the prefab or the blueprint. And then over in my scenario, I'm going to go to the prefabs folder and I'm going to paste and overwrite what's in there with the new version. So that's overwritten. So then I go back into the game and we'll start up a new game and see if it crashes. So that reminds me. At the beginning of the stream, I talked about hitting tilde and open on exceptions. And as a player, you should have that unchecked because that pop-up message just removes from the gameplay. So uncheck that when you're playing it as a player. As a POI designer, I'm going to now check this because I want to see if the game errors out. Because I want to know if there's something wrong in the back end. So just for the purposes of testing, I'm going to turn that back on. So now I'm going to start a new game. I'm going to pick my development branch of Junkyard Salvager, which I just put that new POI in. And here we go. Let's see if it crashes. Don't crash. Don't crash. Don't crash. I updated all the screenshots and the little text in the bottom. And when I'm done, I'll update the update notes there. So I accidentally picked a creative game. Get out of there. Single player, start, scenario, survival. Give me a random seed. Now starting. Let's do a survival test. Don't crash. Don't crash. There's so many bugs. So many bugs I gotta fix. It's a lot more fun to create content. All right, I'm gonna skip the intro tutorial. I'm going to hit the tilde button. There's no error messages, thank God. I'm going to hit God mode invisible. That will let me fly and be invisible so the POIs don't shoot at me. I'm going to type in TT, which is teleport, so that enables teleportation on the map. And then I can also click on, or I type in map to show the entire map. So here's my starting planet. And then with teleportation, I can hold down shift and then right click to teleport anywhere on the map. Okay, so what I want to do is that new POI that I made is over in a different planet. So I'm going to type in sector, and it is on Salvager. The starting planets, Retin, Salvager, it's all different languages for the word salvage or trash or junk. So this is the second planet in the system. So I'm going to hit map and just shift right click on the planet to teleport straight to the planet. So now I'm in the atmosphere. And I'm going to hit tilde again and hit map again. Every time I go to a different playfield, I have to type in map to show the map. So this playfield, this planet will spawn as a large or a very large planet. And just on this seed, it happened to spawn as a very large. So I've got my new POIs that are in here for the next version. Spoilers! And I'm looking for the central junkyard. Here's the central junkyard. This is another thing I was talking to Ravian about, is how many vessels can I spawn around a POI without significantly impacting performance in the game. And I believe, if I remember correctly, you can have a max of 300 on a playfield. A playfield would be, the planet is a playfield. So the central junkyard POI we have is right, it's in the middle there. You can barely see it. There it is. So long story short, I wanted to have a bunch of vessels around the central junkyard PCI, and I might increase the amount that I have in here. So you can see hover vessels, small vessels, and capital vessels. And I've got some placeholders that I'm using in the background that says at every placeholder, spawn X amount of vessels. The reason why I did this is just kind of spread it out, because if I say spawn like 50 vessels around the central junkyard, it'll be a big circle, and I wanted it to just break it up a little bit. So I said at the central junkyard, spawn in 5 placeholders, and around those placeholders spawn in X amount of vehicles. So it's got kind of a randomy feel. Anyways, that was probably too much detail. So I'm going to right click and teleport there. And then I need to wait for everything to spawn in. So there's my central junkyard. Here's all the ships I have. I probably increase or tweak the amount of ships that I have spawned around here. I also need to do more conversions, so there's more variety. But in a nutshell, the player will eventually get here, and the story will continue. So let's take a look and see if everything's spawned correctly in my updated POI. So this planet does not have oxygen, but I'm going to pretend that I'm a player and get out of God mode. Here I am at the central junkyard POI on this planet. Yes, there's pillars because they're placeholders. I have to design the placeholders. Twitchy Samurai. I didn't like the CV Clouds and Star Salvage having the same ships. Yeah, so I want variety. And variety requires time to convert stuff. And it takes time to convert all these vessels. And I want to have as many different ones as I can. Ideally, just spawn one of each. That would be nice. You can do that in the playfield files. It takes time to say, spawn the ship, spawn that ship, spawn that ship. Or you can assign the ships to a group and say, spawn a group. I'm going off on a tangent again. But yes, variety is good. I like how you make the random placeholders. Yeah, I just wanted to give it some randomness. You can't see them all if I had to hit map again. See, I wanted a lot of ships around here, just totally random. Lots of variety. That's my goal here, and I am going to tweak this some more. I need to make sure that I don't spawn so much stuff that it crashes people's systems or kills their frame rate. But on the other hand, I want a lot of variety, so there's a balance there. Is that right? Valors, hey, or change a bit the kind of CV that spawn, or add a few around the whole playfield. Yes, I have different groups of CVs that I have like a group of CVs that are completely destroyed and are just some basic blocks. Like, let me go over to this one. This is a totally destroyed one. So this one, I took this into creative. It's going to bounce around, whatever. It'll calm down. I just spawned this in creative and just had a blast, literally, on the CV. The CV is so destroyed that the point was, it would just be used for salvage, but people have actually fixed these up and got them to fly, which is crazy. Anyways, the point is, I have different groups of CVs. I have like a really damaged group and a slightly damaged group and a pristine group. And I want a lot of variety in those groups. So get back to what Valors was saying. Yes, definitely variety. Variety is good. It's just it takes time to convert those and make that variety. Anyways, we're testing this out to see how everything looks on the additions that we made during the stream today. So we come in, we can hit that O2. It's public. Good. It's a little dark in here. The more lights I add, the higher the hit on the performance, the higher the hit on the frame rates. So I made this with minimal lights, just so I'm not killing people's frame rates. So that's why it's a little dark. All right, so here's our LCD that we added earlier. I gotta play around with it so the text a little bit better. I'll clean that up. But the placeholder's in there. Here, these are both public. Good. I set those to public, and I want to make sure they're public. They are. Fantastic. Yeah, I just added this dude over here. I've got plenty of sentries and guards just in case the players not friendly with traders. Which if you are, there's going to be a quest to restore your reputation, just like the player's restoration quest in RE. So here's our new admin POI that we put in here, just in case we're playing a multiplayer game or on a server, so that the POI 6 round doesn't break the game. We didn't add. We added the new tree down here. We added this deco. All right. So if we go up here, how does our stuff look? We've got that spawner up here that should spawn when the player comes up here. There he is. That's the dude that we defined in creative. So he spawns there and he stays there. I gotta add more deco. And here's our little hidden area with our hidden guy who trades something. Spoilers. Valor. Actually, it'd be great to get a few starter tier 1 CV in the first planet, just like enough so we can fix it and leave. The first planet, the part of the story is that you want to get off the planet with an SV, and then eventually you get a CV. It's just part of the story why there's not a tier 1 CV on there right now, because it's the kind of the point of Junkyard Salvager is to scrape together enough to make that vehicle, repair that vehicle, if you will. So on the starting planet, there's just SVs to get off the planet, and you'll get a CV later. All right, here's our traders. So remember in creative, we had the same model, and I defined that model. And now in survival, we can see that they're all robots. And I've also updated the traders to buy and sell more stuff. I've reduced the prices of the CPUs. That was all feedback. So we've got this guy. This guy's doing SV stuff. This guy's doing HV and SV and some miscellaneous stuff. I've got a CV part trader, because at this point in the game, you're going to be finding CVs and then salvaging them and selling that salvage. And there's some good. I need to adjust these prices. They're probably too high. But yeah, CV trader now. And this guy just sells basic base and CV/base stuff. So a whole bunch of stuff that you can salvage and sell now in the next version. This guy is secret. I don't want to click on him yet because spoilers. Here is the ingot trader. People ask me for an ingot trader. Well, now you get an ingot trader. Ingots are expensive in this game because the scenario, it's at a point where resources are scarce. So ingots are going to be expensive because they're scarce resources in it. It takes time and money to gather enough stuff together to make ingots. So That's where the prices in the ingots are a little high. But hey, they're available now. This guy buys random stuff. One of the comments I had is, what do I do with all this optonics that I get from these robots? Well, you can sell those now, and they're also part of some secret recipes. So yeah, new trader for random stuff, and these are just the vanilla plant and food and med traders. So yeah, more traders in the next version. They will also be on the first planet. Some of them. I'm going to add another trading station on the first planet and add some more trading options there. And engineering I got to work on, but hey, I put those placeholders in here, so it kind of gives a feel. But I'll flesh this out and make this a little bit better. I need to put an NPC back here that you can talk to, which is also going to have some more story stuff. All right, Valor. Once we meet the POI and those SVs, we need the Ab or Blue. Oh yeah. The right. I know what POI you're talking about, Valor. It's the abandoned temple, and yes, it's a tough POI. The player has a choice to just get in an SV and go, or go into that POI. So you don't really need to go in that POI for the story's sake. There's good loot in there, and it's fun to run it, but you don't have to. It's totally optional to go in that POI. All you have to do is get in an SV, fix it up, and fly into the atmosphere. And SVs should be at a point where you can get in them without getting shot too bad. So yeah, you don't need to go in the POI. All right, so up here, I think I just added some stuff in this room. I added those guys, and I added some stuff here. And this guy, I'm not going to talk to him because it's part of the story. So let's go back into God mode. And yeah, so the things that we added in creative today are now reflected in there. So hopefully this gave you guys some insight on everything I'm doing behind the scenes and where I'm at today. I don't want to give away too much because spoilers. I want people to enjoy the new chapters in the game and all of the content that I've added. But this gives you some insight into what I've been doing over the past 3 months. And yes, it's taken me a long time. I have to change these placeholders to actual POIs. There's a lot of placeholders and a lot of work that's going on behind the scenes. And Kate Quill made me a custom SV based on the concept art. Thank you, Kate Quill. I need to make some more variants of that. I have a lot of work to do before I release the next version. Well, not necessarily a lot of work. I just got to finish up this POI. And another POI I got to furnish, and I got to do some more conversions. That's what I have to do. It'll take me some time to do that, but I'm getting closer and closer to the next version and release that in the workshop. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining me today. It's been a good stream, and I will talk again soon. And keep in touch. Post any advice you have for me in Discord. Steam comments, I tend to stay away from the Steam comments. They're a little toxic right now, but feel free to give me any feedback. And we'll see the next version soon on the workshop. So thanks, everyone, for joining me today. I'm going to sign off. Have a good one.